but that is how you get the Pleasantville effect. We're going to go back into Final Cut Pro, and I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm going to double click on the batting close up, and what we're going to do is I'm going to move the cursor in the preview and select right before the batter hits, and then take it on out to about right there and hit out. So to select an endpoint, what you want to do is find out where you want it to be, and then hit the I button, and that will select the endpoint. When you get over here, you just hit O, and that's O. I for input, O for output. And then we're going to grab the footage and pull it down into our canvas, our sequence. I'm going to delete the audio just because that's what I do. It's a habit that I've gotten into. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to Command Copy and Command, which is Command C, and then Command Paste, which is Command V. So I'm going to have two different ones, and I do this just so I can show you a before and after of how this all works. So this is the footage that we're going to leave, and we're not going to do anything to this right here. We're going to be working with this one here. So go to Effects. We're once again going to be using the Color Correct 3-way. Apply that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this piece of footage. What we're going to do is we're going to click and hold down Option, Shift, and then we're going to use the mouse to click and just drag that up, and it will duplicate it. So Option, Shift, and then click on the footage that you want to duplicate, and just move the cursor up, and it will duplicate it. So now we have two of the exact same footage laying over one another, and they both have the color corrector 3-way applied. And I'll show you why we're going to use that here in a second. Make sure you double click the top one so it's highlighted, and it'll appear in your preview. Click on color correction 3-way, and so it'll bring this up. And what we're going to do is we're going to desaturate all of it off of the top one. And you're like, well, wait a minute, hey, how is that going to do anything? Well, this is called the film look, and it's a trick in Final Cut Pro that we can do to make the video look more like film. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the saturation down on the top layer. Then what you're going to do is Control-click on the top layer. Just go down here to Composite Mode and go to Soft Light. Click on that, and you can already see a difference. There's a red line, meaning that we have to render this. But if you click over on our previous footage, everything looks pretty normal. But if you click back over here, the darks everything looks a little bit darker. It looks like there's a soft light on it. Now what I do usually is double click the bottom layer, the color corrector. I bring the blacks just a hair into the greens, and I bring the mids up just a little bit so it looks a little bit brighter. So we have before and after. And you can play around with it. If you think it's a little bit too dark, you can play around with it or whatnot, and get it to where you like it. Now we're going to do one more thing to make it look a bit more like film. And what I'm about to do is I'm going to soften the edges. And by doing that, it tricks the viewer into thinking there's a little bit more of a depth of field, because if you have a lens, a really, really expensive lens, then you the bleachers and stuff in the background could be out of focus, or would be a little bit more out of focus than the actual ball player. So we are going to go to Video Filters, Stylize. Scroll down here, and we're going to go to a vignette. Grab it and pull it over, and there you go. It softens it just a little bit. If you want it softened a little bit more, you could grab it and put it down the lower one. This is a bit much for my taste, but if you double click on that, you can go to Filters, Vignette, and play around with it a little bit. See, it'll fall off, make it more or less. Yeah. And now if you just take this and click back to our original footage, you can see how far we have come. And if you want to double click, another thing that I usually do is, oh wait, on the bottom one, I oversaturate the bottom one just a hair to bring out the reds and some of the flares. Now what you want to do is make sure that it's selected and hit Apple R, which will render your footage, and it'll take it says about 2 minutes, so it'll take 2 minutes, and then we will see what we have. Okay, now that the render is complete, what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to our first footage clip. We're going to go to View and make sure Video Playback is set to Digital Cinema Desktop, and then we're going to go to External Video, hit All Frames, hit the space bar to play, and we'll see the first clip that we imported, and this is the clean clip with no filters whatsoever on it, and this is how the original footage looks. And then when she swings again, it'll go to our edited footage. See the greens pop a little bit, the reds are a little bit more saturated, there's a few more shadows, it's darkened a little bit, and then the edges are soft. But this is the film look that you can achieve in Final Cut Pro without using any other programs.